very warm welcome to everybody in this session with Ashira. It's my honor to present to you Ashira Prem Rachna from Palestine. Ashira was born into conflict and has a long personal experience with injustice. Her life journey guided her to work in journalism, human rights, film production, which she uses as tools to expose injustice and advocates for change. A physical injury that paralyzed her from the neck down sent her on a self-healing journey using various healing methods such as meditations, affirmations, breathing. She was able to gain mastery of her body and healed herself within 3 months, which is really quite incredible. After years of working on the ground, advocating and struggling for truth, she began an inner journey to find peace and healing that brought Kundalini yoga, meditation, and healing techniques into her life. And thus she became Ashira Prem Rachna. Being an active hyper meditator, she loves to travel the world and spread some joy along the way. Music has always been a big passion of hers. She sings and performs Sufi whirlings at events and concerts in and out of Palestine where she lives. She's a Kundalini yoga teacher and an Osho sannyasi who loves working with kids. She has founded Catharsis Holistic Healing in 2015 to focus on healing trauma derived from harsh social and political circumstances that is today's Palestine. At Catharsis, she works with former child prisoners and provides an avenue towards healing that would otherwise not be available. She combines yoga, meditation, creative art therapy to deal with the stress and trauma caused by arrest, detention, and continuous harassment by military authorities. She is also developing research and Arabic curriculum for treatment of trauma, which will increase the reach of this work not only in Palestine, but in the whole of the Arab world. Her work on trauma is commended and supported by Dr. Gabor Mate, who is the leading authority on trauma work in the world. So a very warm welcome to you, Ashira. We're so happy to have you here with us. And Stillness in Motion, your journey that is going to take us into the Sufi whirling world, which is very intriguing for us. And I still remember the very simple technique you taught me on how to whirl, and I practice it. So over to you, Ashira.
Thank you so much. I'm just so honored that you're presenting me. It feels like a beautiful circle coming from you also, that when I first was in India, I got the chance to meet you and I got the chance to study and to have you guide me in meditations that have completely also helped me transform my connection with my feminine energy. So thank you so much for that. So let me first start sharing. So I'll start first by a little bit of explanation about Sufism, to give you an idea about where it comes from, the old and the ancient, and how I kind of use it to transform it into something that can also be used more contemporary.
Either you can speak a little louder or you can just tiny bit reduce the music.
Okay.
Yeah. Music is beautiful.
Cool.
Yeah. Maybe you can speak a little louder.
I need to stop.
And I request everybody to put the side-by-side speaker view so that you can watch the presentation and also be able to see Ashira.
Okay, is this better? Can you hear me better, or
Yes.
are we going?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So Sufism is the mystic aspects of Islam, I'd like to read you something that Hallaj wrote. And he's one of the beautiful Sufi writers and also theologist. In my annihilation perished. In the enforcement of my name and the outline of my form, I asked about me. So I said, you, my inmost secret pointed to you. Until I was annihilated to myself, and you remained. You are my life and my heart's secret. Wherever I may be, you are. You encompass everything with knowledge. All that I see is you. So grant forgiveness, my God, for there is nothing I wish for other than you. The Sufi path is the path of seekers. It is a mystic in. Okay, sorry. To minimize. I don't have control. I keep getting stuck. Maybe can you see it like this because it's easier for me to maneuver it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So Sufism is the best described as an Islamic mysticism or esoteric. It's through belief and practice that helps find closeness to Allah as a direct personal experience. But it's not only connected to Islam, it's connected to so many of the mysticism in all of the religions. So you'll find also in Hindu, you will find whirling, you will find in Tibetan, if you do the 5 Tibetan rites, for example, it begins the ceremony with whirling. And for me, the search for Sima and this connection with God and the search for, it's a physical search for the embodiment of God, the search for the one to be embodied within ourselves, and rather than something that is but it is still belief, but it's belief that's kind of also mixed with physicality, entrenched within oneself as well. So taking religion from somewhere where it's only distanced to something which is more internal. And we say in Islam, the reading of the Sufism is the batini, the inner. It is also when you go and you guide yourself into the readings of the Quran that you go deeper into the meanings where you find your answers, rather than just looking outside at the surface. And the whole idea of the search of the Sufi or the seeking of the Sufi is to find peace within that can shed light to outside. And for me, the search for Sima, for Sufism, was not something that I was born into. I was actually born into a completely different background. My family, not very religious. Well, yeah, mostly not religious and very secular. And I always found this seeking and searching to find out more about religions. So I kind of went into lots of journeys in and out to search to go through Islam, to go through also Christianity, to search into Hinduism, Buddhism, and to seek and learn more, because that was something that my heart was calling from when I was a very young child. When I started first learning how to pray in the Islamic way, which is the Sunni way of doing the 5 prayers, which is also connecting to the different energy points in the body, which I found later on when I started learning yoga. I realized that the connections are very similar in the way that we bow. And I didn't get into Sima and find out about Sima except for at a very late stage in my life. Well, not late, but just a little bit later than when I was 15 and trying to learn about religion. Sima is called the dance of the divine worship. It is a type of prayer. It was created by the 13th century poet, Parisian Hanafi and the Islamic scholar and Sufi mystic Jalaluddin Rumi. And it started in the Mevlevi order in Konya. And it's a ceremony of dance and prayer that purifies the heart. We dance usually with our right hand up to the sky, receiving energy from the sun as it lights, and it goes through the heart, and then it purifies the heart and it opens it to the divine love to wash over. And we release also our left palm is to the earth, so that we can also release energy, and we can also share the love that we receive with the other people that are also watching. So it's a sacred dance of worship. The ritual is, when it started in Turkey, it's still held until today, and it's compartment. It's partly prayer, which is dhikr, where we use mantras, which is very similar to mantras that are used across the world in religious ceremonies. And these mantras also guide to get the meditator into a state of mind where their nervous system also calms down and gets into a state of trance, which allows them then to perform the dance and to perform the prayer. For me, I'm going to tell you a little bit about my personal journey and entrance into the world of Sima. I started dancing, and well, I used to dance, all forms of dance. But as my teacher said, I was injured in 2012, and that injury led me to a broken neck. Two cords in my spinal cord were broken from an injury, and after that, I started on a journey of healing, because most of the doctors said that injuries to the spine cannot be healed, and that I would have to live my life and go through stages of paralysis. So the paralysis started taking over my left side, and the doctors were saying that it would take over my entire body, and that the spine was already severed, so there was nothing to do. And for me, that was the moment where I found that I have two choices. I either take the narrative that is given to me, and I accept it and I don't challenge it, and I surrender to a life which is very difficult for someone like me who's very active, or I find another way. And I went back to books that I had, The Secret, and to the great teachings of women like Louise Hay, Dr. Wayne Dyer, and so many inspirational teachers that I could find at the access of YouTube, because we didn't have that much access, this information accessible to us here, and that not accessible also in Arabic. So I was lucky enough to be able to access this information also because I speak the language. And I started using meditation, purifying the pineal gland, working on the use of language. And for me, now that I just finished a course of emotional freedom technique, so I actually know that it was using the affirmations as a form of nervous, changing the linguistics and NPL, to change the linguistics and the nervous system. So I was using that without too much knowledge, and I was blessed enough with the ability and to also find that space within me where I had that belief, and it was something that was installed in me from a young age. So it was something that I had inside that I just needed to open gates and unlock it, and to have faith mainly in my ability to forgive first, as a gateway into my heart, and as a gateway to change, and as a gateway to heal. And from forgiveness, I felt the fruits of healing kind of started coming to me. And after I did a surgery and I was able to get back on my feet, in the beginning it was like, okay, I was very confined with the crutches, and I was told that that's already a miracle that I was able to go back to walking on crutches, on a walker, that I will not also be able to go back to walking or without assistance. And I still did not believe that narrative, and I believed the narrative that I wrote in my head, and that I used to guide myself through it, and I was back on my feet. But still, I couldn't move very much. So Sufi, and I have a lot of energy, and for me, the whirling was the way that I could go in. I was stable, so there's nothing that could, I'm not using my neck too much. My neck is stable in one place, and I have just to move my hands and my feet, and I'm completely in motion, and it feels like I am practicing Kundalini meditation, yoga, which I used to practice before, and lots of forms of physical activity. And I was decharging every time. I would feel that I was discharging so much energy into this dance, and little by little, my body physically, I just felt that I had the strength to also remove the bounds of fear, because I was also very scared about the idea of moving and being able to fall again. And I was suffering also from PTSD. Well, in Palestine, we call it continuous trauma, because we haven't gotten to the post. So it kind of continues. And I found in this simple act of whirling, I wouldn't even wear the Sufi wear. For me, it was just like dancing and being able to release that energy. And through there, I was taken into finding out more about this sacred dance, the sacred worship, and where has it been hiding all my life? And it was just a blessing. I could see how with each layer, with more practice, I was feeling more connected. And it's not only a feeling of being connected, it was also mentally, there was something happening. And I wanted to explore that because I understood that something was changing in the way that I behaved, and something was changing in the way that I experienced trauma, and how my nervous system reacts to certain triggers around me. My nervous system was calming down, and I could feel that I was less activated. And now I understand that maybe my amygdala was, the receptors on my amygdala were kind of being soothed in a way and changed, and able to have that ability to change patterns. So not to react in the same way. I was also releasing a lot of anger that needed to be released physically out of my body, because emotionally, therapeutically, when I was doing the meditations, I know that I was able to express what emotions I had, but our bodies physically have and carry memory. So for me, the Sima is the embodiment of the continuation of holistic healing. For example, we need to deal with the emotions, you need to deal with the soul, you need to deal with the mind, and you need to deal physically with the body to release any residue of trauma or anything that the body and the mind and the emotions go through, so that you can really fully receive full healing. So it was through this dance that my body could release, and it was through this practice that I was able to energetically also feel a little bit more stable. And after the experience of learning more about Sufism, I will leave you with this beautiful quote. As Simazin begin the ritual, the whirling ritual, he takes off his waistcoat. This indicates Simazin stepping into purification. His arms crossed on the chest represent God's uniqueness, opening both arms to the sides and revolving from right to left. Of course, we revolve also with the movement of the universe. That's where we're also in synergy with planet Earth. He emerges as embracing the entire universe. His right hand with the open palm extended upwards, indicating reception from God. Passage through the heart's path. His left hand with the palm extended downwards indicates fair distribution among fellow men. At this point, there is also an emphasis on the Darvish dissolving into divine existence. And that is the feeling after whirling for whether 5 minutes, 10 minutes, but just the act of whirling. The Tibetans use whirling as the first one in the 5 rites, the 5 Tibetan rites, and they usually do it for 7 times of spinning. And it's also said to have a lot of effect on longevity of the person, and also releasing toxins from the body and purification. And from my journey with Sufism, taking me to Konya and taking me to understand more about the Sufi way of life as well, and letting go of connections and chains to this life, and to the chains and the conditions that we were brought up in. I feel that many of the chains were mental, as well as emotional. And through my journey, that's what I felt. After going and receiving the learning how to whirl mostly in Sufi, I was lucky to go into active meditation, and that's when I met you. And I went to India, and I was like, oh my God, everybody whirls here. This is like the natural state. I was in a meditation center, and it was just so beautiful that the moment the music started, and there's the beat, which is much faster than what you can hear now is the Sufi music, which is the nai, the flute, because it represents also that inner connection that the Sufi has. So we're always guided by the sound of the flute and where and how we move. And of course, in India, it's like the masters of the flute and the drums come together, and the music just starts. You know, the whirling becomes faster, more enchanting, and the trance is even more elevated in a way. So for me, it was beautiful to find out and discover about this world. And I found the also active meditation, the no dimension, to fit me in perfectly, because I learned the Guru Jab movement, which I will show you. And this was for me the pivotal point in also deciding to whirl, not only personally, but also to be able to share whirling with others, and to realize the joy that it also brings to other people for them to sit and watch and be engulfed in this beautiful energy of the dance. So the active meditation, the no dimension movements, it starts with Guru Jeb movement, which is a directional movement. It is a wave where we move, where you move in the 4 directions around you, and you do the sound shu. And this beautiful movement, as simple as it is, for me, the first time that I did it, what it did was, when I used to explain it first to people, I used to say it just lets me know when my right brain is working and when my left brain is working. And I didn't know how to explain it in any other way, but I felt that the moment that that I get anxious, that thoughts come into my mind, that fears come in, there's a certain part in my mind that was active, and my movements, when that active brain arrived, I was not able to coordinate my movement, and I would lose step. And then when I was back in perfect movement, there was another part of my brain that felt very active and very serene. And now for me, now I understand when my parasympathetic nervous system gets activated versus my sympathetic nervous system gets activated. And I'm like, wow, it's just a matter of this movement, because it's also moving your eyes. So we're sending signals to the nervous system as well. And when we're doing that, this beautiful, very simple movement allows for you to just also be more inside and to realize and witness the thoughts that come in. And that's very important, to be able to listen to these voices that are running in our system on daily. Sometimes you will sit for 5 minutes and realize it's the same melody on repeat constantly. Is it the cooking? Is it the work? Is it the deadline? Is it the time? And if you sit more hours with it, you will realize it's the same pattern of thought that keeps returning. And then when you become more witnessing of it, you realize that it doesn't have actually any importance in your now, in your second of being, in the breath that you're taking right now. And that's when you get to a state where you're able to get to really relax your nervous system, and at the same time to feel that divine connection, to feel that inner child, the innocence, the happiness that comes from that state of being in full presence in the moment, without any of the noise that is happening around. So for now, I'm gonna give us 5 minutes break, or actually I'm gonna give us 2 minutes break, just so I can fix the setup so that we can start moving together. And I hope you can do the same. If you can, we're gonna start standing, and then we're gonna start where we're gonna move a little bit more. If you have a cushion, if you have a yoga mat, now's the time. So now it's 4:08. So I just need 2 minutes. So is that good for everyone? I can see a few faces. If you can nod.
Yes, please.
Okay.
Yes.
And are you ready to move? Do you feel that this is a good time for you to move?
Yes.
Okay, wonderful. Because now we're gonna go more into the detail. Actually, just to round up the time, maybe I can speak a little bit about the brain, and then we can start the movement. How about we do that? I will give you 5 minutes to get ready to move, and then I will give
Ashira, can you enlarge the screen in the meantime for people who can't read the small font?
Sorry, that is yes. If I figure out where first.
You can just go to presentation mode.
Okay.
Yes, thank you.
So yes, I'm just going to also tell you about after the journey into active meditation, I was also more interested in how the brain works when we're whirling, and I wanted to understand more how it works with trauma and also PTSD, because that's an area that's close to my heart, and that's the area that I work with. And I started doing research to find out more about how our brain is influenced and what happens to the brain of a Sufi. And I was very lucky to find the research that was done in Turkey. Of course, that is the home of the still whirling dervishes. There's many sects from Sufism, I must also add. So it's when I say there's the Mevlevi order, which is in Turkey, and then there's orders that are spread around the world of practicing Sufis. And I should say, as a disclaimer, that I'm not a fully practicing Sufi of any order. So I use Sufism as a method for my personal healing, and also I teach it for others in order to be able to use it as a method for healing themselves, but not as a religious practice. So if anybody's interested more in the religious practice of Sufism, there's a lot of information out there. So when I looked at there's researchers in Turkey that looked at the brain of whirling dervishes, and they wanted to study the effect of the whirling this whirling on the brain. So they put around 10 Sufi whirling dervishes were put in specific controllers so that they can have MRIs of the brain, and they can tell us exactly what goes on in the brain of a Sufi whirler. And of course, there's a lot of research that's been done also on meditators, and especially Tibetan meditators, which proves that there's an area in the brain that gets activated, which areas of the brain and how it affects. In this case of the Sufis, the scientists found that the cortical thickness of the whirling dervishes is more elastic, and elasticity is important because that's what allows change to happen in the brain, and that's what allows for different patterns of thinking, different patterns of electromagnetic electricity to go through the brains to produce the hormones which affect the nervous system. So in the parasympathetic nervous system, when it comes to the fear, the relaxation, the digestion hormones, the hormone of serotonin, the happiness hormones, and also the active sympathetic nervous system, which produces the adrenaline, which gets us into that state of fear, a state of fear of flight. So when we are whirling, we're actually being able to change the plasticity of in the area of the brain, which allows us to make changes. And they have also noticed during this research that the people who suffer from ADHD, and that's the attention deficiency hyperactivity disorder, which I have as well, I was well labeled with, is also susceptible to change from this whirling when you have the state of elasticity in the brain. So for me, this was the perfect, the perfect proof that there is a change that happens physiologically, not only in the experience that I personally have, or that others who whirl and other people who use this practice feel. There's actual scientific evidence that shows that there is a change that happens from this whirling, and it allows us to have this space to engage in stillness. And what I hope to do is to be able to make this, with the practice that I've developed, to make it into something that is usable for everyone, that is accessible to everyone. Osho has made it very beautifully accessible through the no dimension, but also I'm very well aware when I practice with children, especially, that for durations of 15 minutes, it might be too long for the children to be able to whirl. And also for other people who have problems with balance. So it was important for me to find a way that can get us into a state of whirling that feels safe enough, that can be done as a daily practice, and not something that is very much left into a performance where people come and see me whirling, or they go and they experience whirling in a full workshop where you would have to study for a full course in order to be able to work. The benefits of whirling are beautiful, and it should be accessible. And with the use of the Gurujev movements and the use of techniques that help us with the balance and help us with also centering the eyes and the nervous system, then it's much more accessible. And this is the method that I've developed, and hopefully I'm going to share it with you. So now if we can take just 2 minutes so I can change the setup, you can get up and fix also your surroundings so that you're comfortable. And if you are, at some point, I would like to ask for people to open their cameras, because that would, especially when we're doing the zikr, it would be beautiful to see everyone's face as they recite the mantras. If you're uncomfortable, of course, that is to you, but it would be nice. Always good to see faces. So 2 minutes. It's now 4:15 here, so 2 minutes and I'll just step up. Okay. Okay, can you hear me? And you can hear the music? Or should I also be louder?
Yeah, we're able to hear you as well as the music.
Okay, perfect. All right, so we will start first with knowing how to balance, and a technique that's very easy for being able to balance you if you get off balance. So this is the last thing you do when you want to stop whirling, but we have to start with it so that you know how to stop, because stopping is a little bit more important than whirling. So the first technique is we're always looking at our hands. So standing with your feet hip width apart, and your hand is right in front of you. Okay. So if I'm whirling to the left. My left leg is stable on the floor. We're first working with the hands, so don't worry about your feet. just look at how we're doing the hands. So we're moving and my eyes are constantly on the same point. Do you see, I've put my daughter's hair ribbon just to give you an idea. If you have a ring, for example, in your hand, if you have something that will make sure that you're looking at this point. So if we're doing this and we are moving and my eyes are only on the pink dot, which is my daughter's hair ribbon. And let's say I'm whirling really fast. We're not trying this, but I'm just trying to show you what we do. And I want to stop. So I start slowing down my feet movement and my eyes are constantly still on my hands. Before I stop, I move very slowly and I bring my second hand close. So I will be whirling with one hand and then I feel like I want to stop. I bring my second hand and I start looking at both hands, open like this. And then I turn them and I turn my eye focus on my thumbs, on the thumbs of my nail right here. So first we're looking like this on this hand. And then when we feel like we're getting dizzy or we want to stop, we bring our second hand and we start looking at both hands. This is the view that you will be looking at. And then we change the view to this. And I'm staring straight at my nails. And I stare at my nails. I'm gonna show you how I do it, the transition. We're going from this. I want to stop. I keep moving around. I don't stop my feet. I bring my two hands together and continue to whirl, but slower. And then when I feel that my eyes are a little bit more steady, I turn them and close them like this, and I look at them. The whole time, whenever I am moving from, when I'm moving from here to here, to here, to here, I am constantly looking on the right hand, on the one hand where the ring is, okay? And when I get to this place, I'm looking at both thumbs and I stay there. And I still am whirling. I might be a little bit dizzy moving around like this, but I don't stop, that's important. And I just keep my focus on my thumbs. And then I extend my arms. And I keep looking at them until I feel more that the world around me stopped rotating. And I gently, softly, with time stop. And I'm still looking at my thumbs. I'm looking at my thumbs the whole time. And when my eyes feel fully centered on my thumbs and my nervous system is calm, and I'm no longer feeling shaky, I open my arms and look straight forward. Okay, I'm gonna do it all again so we can just look at it. I start, I'm looking only on one finger. I want to stop, I slow down, I bring my other hand and I turn. And I start looking at my thumb, my nails, and then I extend my arms, slow down, and open my eyes. Do you have any questions?
Supposing you feel dizzy, what does that mean?
It's completely normal. So it's normal to feel dizzy. What happens in children usually is they get dizzy and they get excited, so they keep going. And that's basically the feeling that you need to get to, where you break that the fear from the dizziness. But if you feel there's any dizziness coming from the stomach, that's where I would get the sign to immediately try to stop and close.
What if
So
you
if
have
it's
the fear
just
of falling?
dizziness, if it's just the feeling of dizziness from the eyes, from the head,
Yes.
then you're okay, and you can try a little bit and then stop, and then try a little bit and stop. What happens is this is a learned behavior. So basically your body just needs to get used to this pattern of movement, and you start with it very gently. You start very slowly, and once your motors, your body starts learning this new behavior, this new pattern, then it will become much more natural to you.
Okay.
But to begin with, you just take it easy. If there's any rumbling in the stomach, that's when it's an immediate sign that I stop. But if it's just the regular dizziness, just keep practicing. Get yourself to that place where you're looking at your fingers. Your body will know that you are safe. Once you do it once and you get really dizzy, and you put your eyes and you immediately see how like there's no dizziness the moment you open your eyes, your body will know that you have a technique. So it will kind of relax and know to trust you that, oh, okay, so she knows how to stop this. Oh, okay, good. And now she's back to normal.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
You're sure not to fall?
Yes. So in order not to fall, that's why we're taking it very slow.
Okay.
And we're making sure that there aren't any material that could be that you could fall on. And now we're doing, that was just for the hands. I'm gonna show you the feet. And I want you to be much more slower, like to be much slower than me. Okay, can you see my feet or is it blurring? Okay, I think it's blurring a bit. Okay, now it's a blur. Ah, how do I do this?
Can you remove the blur?
How do I
blur?
remove it? Any ideas? Oh, here.
Yeah, you have to go to the video setting.
Yes, got it. Okay. My house looks so much messier now. Okay, so look at the feet. So the movement, I start here, legs hip width apart. And when I'm turning my left ball, the ball of my leg, my heel stays on the floor. And I take my right leg and I move it into T. And then I straighten my other leg. And then I move into T. And then I turn my left. My left leg is my anchor. It doesn't move that much. It's just my right leg that moves around it. So very slowly again, I'm moving into T. You can see the letter T. And then I turn straight. And then I turn. It's a very gentle, slow movement. And that's how we start. Your left foot is fully your anchor. So this is how my feet are moving. And with my arms, I'm looking at you and you're already whirling. Remember that the whole time we're looking at our right hand open, our left hand is lower, and we're looking at it. Another technique to keep in mind, when you do, if you feel there's a little bit more dizziness, you expand you open a little bit more your leg, your foot. So let's say I'm getting really dizzy and I'm here, I just open my right leg a little bit more and I start whirling at a bigger space, in a bigger circle. And this helps me get steady. Okay, so now
we are primed now, primed to start.
What?
We are ready to start practicing.
Okay, perfect. So we're gonna first start practicing by stretching. And then we can whirl for a little bit longer. So what I need you to do is we're stretching the whole body from the foot. And so my arms are upright. I go all the way down. I exhale on the way down and I inhale on the way up. up. And now lift yourself up, hold your breath. Fingers up, hold your breath. Hold a root lock. What is going on here? Sorry. So we're up and we release the breath and we lower the shoulders down. And you're gonna shake a little bit your shoulders. And now lift your hands up. And we're gonna do a standing Sufi grind. Just to get the lower back twist. Feet down to the floor. And take a few breaths, stretching your back all the way to the floor. And now if you can sit on the floor. You're sitting down, and we're gonna do what is known as a Soupy Grind. And this is perfect for the liver, for the kidneys. It also helps detox them. And if you think about it, it's like you're in the middle of my sound bowl. You're moving like this. Okay? With your hands on your knees. And we're taking a breath in as we move forward, and we release on the way back. And I want you, when you release, when you go back, to feel that you're putting pressure on the area of the kidneys and the liver, so you're squishing them. Okay, so we take a breath in and a breath out. You need to put your stomach in as you go out. You release the breath. Take a breath in. Try to feel the movement, to make it relax, to make it. And you're breathing in light every breath. And releasing whatever needs to be let go of. Putting an intention to allow your body to go on this beautiful Sufi journey. And now take a deep breath in. Come back to the center. Hold your breath. Apply root lock. And release the breath from the mouth. And now we're changing the direction. Take a deep breath in, come to the center, close your eyes. Take a deep breath in and apply root lock, hold your breath. When you release, you visualize that you're releasing from your root all the way to the earth. Just take a minute to feel how your body feels. And now to open the heart space, I usually use this mantra, which is Sat Kar Tar. Sat Kar Tar. I will also put it in the chat. Sat Kar Tar, which means the doer. And this mantra opens the area of the heart, also that we were going to work with as Sufis. So just to channel the energy there, put the intention in the area of the heart. We do Sat Kar Tar. Sat Kar Tar. And you repeat the mantra because the mantras are all about how you move the spinal fluid in the area from the back. So remember, Sat Kar Tar. Sat Kar Tar. It's about moving the jaw. Sat Kar Tar. 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 You also engage in your arms, getting them ready for the whirling. Sat Kar Tar. 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 Take a deep breath in, bring your hands to your palms, to your knees. Take a deep breath in and hold it. Close your eyes and feel the energy in the area of the heart. Relax your shoulders. Take in another deep breath over it and hold it. Release your breath. And now we come to standing. You can take a few minutes just to feel the energy in the area of the heart. It's a beautiful and powerful mantra. It's from Kundalini. And it brings a lot of peace to the heart. Can you hear this well?
No, we can't hear anything.
Sorry?
I'm here.
Very low
Can you hear the
volume.
music?
No.
It's a very low volume. Can't hear it.
Okay,
Hardly.
wait. So this one I will. Now?
Yes, we can hear now.
So this is the Guru Japa. And we will move in directions.
you can remove the screen share.
But then how will I?
Will it not be heard?
Can you still hear the music?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So this movement, we start in the center and we're bringing our hands up and we're basically visualizing that we're taking energy from the earth as we do this, going out, and we are sending it out. Taking a breath in every time we go from the earth, from the area of the heart. And you do the sound as strongly as you can. So we start in the center, and then we start moving in the different directions. So we go to the right, to the back, and to the left. I think I got it confused. See, this is what happens when your mind is thinking about it. You don't know how to do it. Let me show you again. Because I was thinking, can they see it or not? So it's... I guess you need to see my feet also. How do you see my feet and my hands at the same time? You step every time, every movement, it's your right with your left, they move together. So, shoot, and you go to the front. And your left leg with your left hand. To the sides, to the left, and to the right, and to the back. Again, we start. To the front. We go to the right with the right hand. To the left with the left side. To the back, we move one side and to the back again. Front. So together, front, right, front, left, hand and leg, right side, left side, to the back, and to the back, to the front. We're moving our left hand and our left leg to the side. And we just continue the movement. And you make shoop every time. To the front, to the side, to the left, to the back right, to the back left, to the front. show you my legs a little bit more. So again, it's right and left foot in front, left and hand and leg together, to the side, to the other side, to the back right, to the back left, to the front right, to the front left, to the right together, to the left, to the back right, to the back left, to the front right, to the front left, to the right, to the left, to the right back, and to the left back, to the front right. Take a deep breath in, bring your hands together, and stretch your body to the top. Hold the breath. Release your shoulders. And now as you're standing, we're going to be moving to the dhikr.
So we also have around 7 minutes left. So how would you like to?
7 minutes. So what we will do is we will start together in a zikr. Usually we're supposed to be together, so we're supposed to be a circle and we support each other. But what we do is now, after we move from the Guru Jev, we get into the zikr. And the zikr is the mantra from the Sufi example. So what we will use is Allahu. It's very simple. Allahu. We will repeat it. And you can also repeat Allahu Nur, Allahu Mahabba. And it would be great if you open your mic so we can listen to it together. And the way we move to it is Allahu, 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 Allahu. There's a little movement in your legs, so we're moving like this, if you're thinking about feet, okay? And I want your chest to be straight, but to be turning Allahu, Allahu, and your hands here, okay? I'm gonna put my... So we repeat it together, and then when you see me starting to whirl is when you can start to whirl. I will stop and look just to make sure that everyone is okay, and just to remind you of what you have to do when you need to stop your the whole looking at the hands. Just remember, the most important thing is you keep your eye contact on the hand, on the point in the body, and if you start feeling dizzy, don't stop immediately. Do not stop the moment you feel you're getting dizzy. You need to give your system to slow down. So just feel safe and slow down, and remember that you have a technique to keep you from stopping, and be very slow. This is your first time. You need to get your body accustomed to it. If you feel like you've done it before and you want to experiment, then that's fine, but just keep your hand in front of you If and when we get dizzy, we put the hands together, we stare at them, and then we stop. So open your mics if you want. It would be nice. We can hear the beautiful voices. And that's also what starts the energy.
Allahu, Allahu, Allahu.
Allahu, Allahu, Allahu,
Allahu, Allahu, Allahu, Allahu, Allahu, Allahu, Allahu, Allahu, Allahu. Allahu,
Let's start with your hands. My hand is going to be for my ear.
Please give me charger. My phone is 2%.
इसको बिना मैं तेरा दिमाग खराब करता कैसा उठो
Going to look. Remember, keep your hands, your eyes exactly at one point in between the fingers. Exactly. I see many people already there. Just keep your eyes on your thumbs, and you can bring it a little bit closer when you feel you need it. It's as if your arms are also your anchor. Remember, the hands are the anchor. look at the thumbs, and we allow our hands to separate if we need to stop. Basically, your eyes will follow and open naturally, and that will help you. How much time do I still have?
We've come to the end of the session now. It's already time.
Okay.
But if you want to ask anybody to share, maybe a minute or two can have.
Okay. I would have liked to do some sound, but we can listen to this.
I'm sure that if you can just put it in the chat box, how was your experience?
Yes, if you can share that would be. Oops, sorry. You can share that way in the inbox. If you have any questions, you just open your mic and you can ask me now. Basically, what we do is after we whirl, we have to take a session so we can integrate. And that would be by sitting. If we can at least do 1 minute breathing together while everybody writes their questions, if that's possible. And you take a very deep breath together, because this is also an act that's done usually in union. It would have been beautiful if we were all together. Let me know if the technique that helped you, if you felt that you did get a little bit dizzy and it helps to have the hand contact. So now we can take a deep breath together. Oops. Beautiful. Good to know that the hand contact works miracles. So that's the idea. It's just it's about getting the body to understand that you have things in control.
Beautiful. Somebody is asking about the music. Where can they find the music?
So this is all I've used is on YouTube. The one that has the for the Guru Dev movement, that one is from Osho, so you can find it under Osho No Dimension.
The Sema music?
The Sema music you can find as I have a playlist. If you want to follow me on YouTube, I'll make it public, and this way you can have actually the whole set, except for the Osho one. It's not there. How do I? Okay, wait. Let me do this.
I guess if we type Sema music or.
Oh, now you have my full playlist. You should be able to
Okay,
watch.
thank you.
Oh, that's so beautiful to hear that you had an exhilarating experience.
So beautiful. Perhaps we should now.
End the session?
Yes, we had a good time and so much energy, and I was watching people whirling. It was so wonderful. People who thought they would never whirl, they whirled.
That is beautiful. I'm very glad that you enjoyed it, and I hope if you have any questions, also you can feel free to. Yeah, it does make you feel playful. This is why kids are always in the playground whirling, because that's so much fun. And can you imagine if it's like so much fun and it can also be helping in like healing traumas and healing so many things for kids? It's just brilliant, and also for adults. Playful and fun.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. Thank you, Ashira. It was
Thank you.
so wonderful to connect with
So
you
much.
and build this bridge between Palestine and India with this beautiful whirling. I've seen these whirlings in Turkey, in Istanbul and Konya, and tears just streamed down my eyes when I watched the dervishes dance. It is so holy, so sacred, so beautiful. So thank you for bringing that into our lives, and wish you all the best with your own journey of healing children with trauma and bringing joy to different parts of the world that you travel. So thank you all very much who participated, and all the best for the next session.
And if you feel free to get in touch, I think I have.
Yes, you can share your email address or We have another speaker coming in now. Hubert Herman's dialogical self-theory in Room Sangam. So welcome to that session as well. Instagram is Prem Ashira.
Yes.
And
Oh,
it is Ashira Prem Rachna.
it's
Ashira
not
Prem
from
Rachna.
Rachna. I
Yeah.
have my hands extended to reach.
No, it's okay. We can see your name on your.
Okay, perfect. So that's, you can find me on social media that way, and the
Yes.
website as well.
Find it so difficult to leave this space, Ashira.
Thank you so much. I'm glad you.